BBC Radio Merseyside.
This one in the news today, I don't know if you caught sight of this, really did catch our attention in the office. Drivers caught speeding on the motorway will face penalties of up to £10,000 under new proposals to quadruple the maximum fines. Under changes put before Parliament, there would be no limit on the fine for drink driving. Ministers say the increases will give magistrates greater powers and they need to punish offenders and act as an effective deterrent. A couple of guests on this to talk to you then. We've got Matt Reynolds, who's a solicitor with Just Motor Law, a division of Merseyside-based law firm Cohen's, on the line. Hello to you, Matt.
Good afternoon, Simon. Hi.
Good to see you. Tim Shawcross is here as well, Head of Technical Policy at the Institute of Advanced Motorists. Hello, Tim.
Hello.
Is it speed on the motorway that kills, Tim?
No, it's speed in inappropriate circumstances, but, you know, we do have a law for a sensible reason, and if people are caught transgressing it, they do deserve some sort of penalty. And unfortunately nowadays, we're a bit in the position where there doesn't seem to be a speed limit in a lot of people's perception unless there's a camera, and we really need to get back to, you know, a couple of decades ago when people actually recognised the need for a speed limit, and local authorities put speed limits in place because there was a reason. People trusted the authorities trusted people, and let's do away with some of this nonsense.
There is, though, isn't there, when it comes to motorway driving, a tacit admission, even by the police, that over 70 is okay. You know, they won't pull you for doing 75, will they?
Well, there's this rule that a lot of people seem to be aware of, and it's the 10% plus 2 rule. That's kind of guidance for people. It's not a rule, it's not a law. If you're doing 72 miles an hour on a motorway, in theory, you can get pulled. Now, the police exercise some discretion, and that's good, and what we need is more police visible on motorways, because they can do more than pull you for speeding. They can, you know, pull you over if you're following too close to the vehicle in front, middle lane hogging, overtaking dangerously, all the rest of the things that cameras simply don't catch. And unfortunately, with cuts, we have a dearth of visible policemen on our roads.
Has anyone been pulled for middle lane hogging yet, by the way?
It depends on the local authority. Technically, it's just careless driving. And your middle lane hogging might be my leaving a sensible distance before I pull in past the vehicle I've just overtaken.
Quite right. Matt Reynolds is here as well, solicitor. Matt, so at the moment, how does the current system work?
Well, the maximum fine for speeding on the motorway is £2,500. You may get up to £1,000 fine for speeding on a normal road. But of course, that's a maximum. And the reality is the courts determine the exact fine you will pay with reference to your salary, to your income. So it doesn't mean that everybody's paying £2,500 or £1,000, and I would imagine it's not going to mean that people are going to be paying £10,000 if the new laws come in. If you are on a low income, under £100 a week, you may get fined £100, £150.
So it's a means testing almost, isn't it? Absolutely.
It's like the widow's mite, in essence. So you can imagine an average earner may end up with a £200 or £300 fine. If you're extremely wealthy, you might be quite pleased at the current cap, because you may be paying proportionately less. This new law, if it is debated and goes through, may mean that people on very large incomes will be paying more than their fair share, or more as they should be paying.
Well, is that fair, Tim Shawcross? Because the offence is the offence. It doesn't matter what income you're on. It's as dangerous if you're doing 90 and you're poor as if you're rich.
Well, I think the rationale behind that is that, you know, the punishment needs to hurt as much for each of us. So, you know, if you're a first division footballer and you get done for speeding, £100 fine is, you know, is the change in your pocket. Whereas if you're on a lower income, it's a severe penalty. But all of this is kind of irrelevant unless we're actually catching people. A high fine is not a deterrent unless somebody's got a genuine fear that they will be caught transgressing the law. I mean, using a handheld mobile phone became a specific offence. I think it was in 2007. Yeah. Look around every day, you'll still see people using a handheld phone while they're driving along. And that's because they know there's very little chance of them getting caught. And until we have, you know, a credible means of policing our roads and spotting people who are transgressing the rules and driving dangerously, driving inconsiderately, then, you know, you can make the fine whatever you like. It doesn't mean anything unless I think I'm actually going to be pulled over and fined that amount.
What would you be in favour of? More cameras, maybe on motorway bridges? Would that be the way?
No, cameras have a part to play, but it's only a part to play. There is no substitute for high visibility liveried police vehicles on our roads. There is no doubt about it. I know it costs money, but, you know, look at the the 1,800 people a year who die on the roads, the countless people who are seriously injured on our roads. Set that cost for the NHS to society as a whole, and you'll find that, policing our roads is actually good value for money, and that's what we need to see more of.
Finally, Matt Reynolds, do you think that the risk of bigger court fines will deter motorists?
Well, I think one of the reasons why people argue that the death penalty shouldn't be brought back in is people still murdered and committed heinous crimes when the death penalty was in, because I think people never think they're going to get caught, and that's the problem. And I think what the government needs to do if they're going to make a change in this area is try and have a cultural shift like they have done with drink driving, where people feel themselves that it is wrong, that it's shameful to speed, that they're putting their fellow citizens at risk. And with drink driving, that really saw a reduction in offending over about 10-15 year period.
Yeah, it became taboo, didn't it? Very much so. Thank you, Matt Reynolds, solicitor with Just Motor Law, and also to Tim Shawcross, Head of Technical Policy at the Institute of Advanced Motorists. Thanks, Tim.
Simon Hoban.
BBC Radio Merseyside.